Hey everyone, this is our first developer diary, and today with the quick scene we'll be looking at the various new mechanics that will be added with the most anticipated Minecraft update ever, the Lord of the Craft, the Rise
Ever.
of the Undead. Yeah, ever. So we've got the guys here. We've got Native, Simpa, and Axe, who will probably be interjecting throughout. We'll start off with the racial traits. Let's hand it over to Vaccine.
Alright, yeah, so racial traits. We're adding multiple new features to racial traits, such as gender and racial specific buffs and benefits. Basically, we're just trying to make the whole game more resolved around races and make it more of a critical choice in your kind of adventure in the game, depending on what race you choose. Um, there's three main things I want to cover with the race benefits. There's three major things. Number one, everyone's race is being reset. We're having a race reset basically. So when you log in after the update, you're gonna have to re-register your race to, whatever you want it to be. You can change your race if you want, even on this update. This will be your one opportunity, really,
Yeah,
to change your race. Yeah,
just to remind people, you can only choose the four main races.
yeah.
The two new races are sub-races. You are chosen to join them, but the four main races are the ones you choose when you
Right,
register a new race.
you can't register, for example, as an undead, or you can't register as an ascendant. You're gonna register as one of the four core races, human, orc, elf, or dwarf, and then from there you can go into these sub races if you're chosen, basically. Um, as I was. So when you re-register now, you're gonna notice a few things are different. For one, you're gonna get a nice little opening intro RP message telling your race, a little bit about your race, and a little lore, a little backstory, saying really what you're going to do, what your race really is set out to do in this world. And then also you're gonna receive some cool benefits, right? You're gonna get two main benefits here. Number one, you're gonna get stat benefits. You're gonna get a nice buff to your MCMMO stats, depending on what race you've chosen. For example, let's say you pick a dwarf, right? We can all agree the dwarves tend to be mining a lot, so you know what? We decide we're gonna give them, I think it's 150 from 0. It would be 150 mining buff. Now the way we've done it though is, let's say your mining like is 90 right now. You're not gonna have 240 after you register. You're gonna have the experience added. So like the experience from 0 to 150, that's how much you're gonna get. So it's not gonna be like majorly tear OP for those who already have high levels. You're still gonna get the buffs, and it's not like it's gonna reset your levels either. Your levels will stay the same. They'll just be buffed depending what race you choose. And you can see more about that specific element in the Wikipedia. I'm sure we're gonna like post like every race's different benefits and such. Number two is you're gonna get a nice area stat buff. This means that depending on where you are in game, you're gonna get buffs to your combat, both your attack and your armor. If you're in your your race's natural habitat, if you will, for example, dwarves on stone, elves in their forest, you're gonna get a nice buff to both your attack and your defense. You're gonna get a half a heart buff. So let's say you're fighting a mob. This is both for PvE and PvP. So let's say you're fighting a mob, for example, and you're an elf, and you're in your magical lord and forest. You all hits the slime does to you will be decreased by zero point 0.5, half a heart, and all hits you do to it will be increased by half a heart. So you'll basically be super buffed. This is gonna be really helpful because then when like there's an attack on a different nation, the defending nation will automatically have kind of an upper hand.
Yeah.
And that's basically a summary of the racial traits.
The nether debuff as well.
Oh yeah, all right, yeah, I'll talk about that right now too. We basically are doing. We know we don't want anyone but the undead really to be inhabiting the Nether. Like, let's face it, we don't want random people just saying, "Oh, let's go to hell and let's just chill in the undead city of whatever it was called." I can't even remember now. It's like
It's quite hard to pronounce.
Drakawaki, yeah, something from the
Nordish, yeah.
Nordish mythology. But basically, whenever you're in the Nether, every 2 minutes, you're gonna lose a heart from the debuff. I'm not sure. The lore behind it's basically like you're in this dark, evil place, and it's slowly kind of eating
It's pretty
away
much
at you.
sucking through your soul. Yeah.
Yeah, it's basically
eating
eating.
at you. Yeah.
It's slowly turning you evil.
It's
You
a
know,
yeah.
yeah.
Your soul wasn't made to survive in a different dimension, which is why, hence, the undead are undead in Aegis and are alive in the Nether. But
Yeah.
you'll read more about that in the Wikipedia.
Yeah, the whole thing we're doing with this update is we're putting stress on the fact that the undead are powerful. Okay, you can't be an undead by default, so we're kind of making them we're not making them super OP, but we're only really choosing a handful of really good RPers to be undead, and then they're gonna get some pretty cool benefits, and even more so once we include magic, necromancy. Anyway, summoning mobs, fire spells.
We'll
Anyway,
talk about that later.
yeah. Yeah, so I'll leave it at that. I'll talk a little bit more on Dead later, but I'm gonna pass it on to whoever wants to talk about. I think a Veiler on
Yeah, we'll
dungeons.
Dungeons, yeah,
instances.
dungeons are going to be the next big kind of mechanic we're going to add in the update. We're going to have dungeon instancing system, which is similar to other MMORPGs like World of Warcraft and whatnot. And basically, you'll be able to access these dungeons through their entrances in Aegis. They're going to have a lore, and they're going to be different like levels of dungeons. They're going to be easy ones, harder ones, with more loot, with more mobs, bigger and darker, etc., etc. And you start off the easiest dungeon is going to be. We're only going to tell you the location of this dungeon. The others are going to be hidden, and more are going to be released through updates. But the first dungeon is going to be in the Towers of Aemon and Daemon. I'm sure a lot of people have already seen it and looked around in it. We haven't activated it yet, but it's basically you walk through the entrance and down the pathway, and just like in an instance, you get teleported to the actual dungeon, which is in a different world. And the dungeon is basically a big maze full of various rooms of different sizes, and each room is basically full of mobs, depending on the room size, and there's a percentage chance of a chest coming up, and in that chest there's going to be a percentage chance of loot. There's going to be all sorts of loot, all sorts of armor and stuff like that. So really, it's just basically a big maze. You go through, you kill monsters. It's great. It's designed to work with a kind of raiding system where you go with 5, 6 or more people. The easy dungeon's made for 4 or 5 people, so it's great fun thing to do with your guild, your clan, or your guards, or your sentinels, pathfinders, whatever you guys are. And you can go through, and it's actually quite hard, and it's gonna require a bit of tactics, how to use your abilities, how to conserve food, which rooms to go, how to fight in the corridors and stuff. It's going to be a great experience for everyone. And basically what you have to do is you have to get to the end of the maze to actually get out. It's either getting to the end or actually dying. That's the only 2 ways to get out of the dungeon once you're in. So it's quite a high risk and tough thing to do. But if you can go in with your mates, it's going to be quite fun, and I'm sure you guys will enjoy it. Basically, there's a percentage chance of actually getting diamond loot as well.
Yeah, high quality
You can get diamonds,
stuff.
yeah, high quality stuff from chests. It depends on which maze you do, which dungeon you're doing. But the harder the dungeon, the bigger the percentage of actually getting nice loot. And basically, yeah, you go through the maze and you get to the end, and you can finish it. So, hand it over to Vac, who's gonna speak about the Crypt stuff.
Right, Crypt. AKA the respawn delay, AKA you begging the monks to let you out quicker. We recently removed that, but previously we have removed it, but we're gonna actually be re-adding it to this update. Not too many major changes. I think we're gonna pretty up the crypt so it looks a little more stuff to do rather than just paste. I mean, maybe it'll look a little nicer. I'm not completely sure. Are we doing that, Availer? Like we making it?
Yeah, we'll make it. Yeah,
glorified. Yeah, less depressing. A glorified crypt, if you will. The main difference really is just that it's not really a difference per se, but the main core races, the human, orc, elf, and dwarves, will all still spawn there in the Cloud Temple of Aegis crypt. However, the undead and ascended and those 2 sub races, they're gonna spawn elsewhere. The undead will spawn in their capital city, which is in the Nether Realm. It's also a Nordish name I can't pronounce, the city name. And the ascended will spawn in their basically holy Palace of Awesomeness over their base of operations, which is actually in the world of Aegis. It's in the same realm as us, but it will be in different locations, because I think that'd be kind of weird otherwise if we had the undead just spawn next to the people in the Cloud Temple. There's chilling.
Yeah, it'd be pretty weird. Like, oh,
hey man, what's up?
Yeah, what's up, bro?
Monks are like, here, hold on, we'll heal you. One second. Yeah, so that's the main difference. It'll be, for those of you who are veteran players, you already know how it works. It'll be basically the same. And with that, pass it back over to the Wandering Wizard, who's going to talk about jailing system, which I think is already half implemented.
It's implemented.
Yeah, we already added that.
But we've not been using them. So basically, they're going to be jails all over Aegis, for catching bandits, thieves. Whether they actually did do banditry or theft, it doesn't matter. But it'll be under the control of the owners of those cities. So if you were convicted for thieving and you were found in Alcazar, for example, and the seneschal or the king or one of the high-ranking people convicted you of thieving, they can actually jail you for a specific amount of time, and you can't get out of it by logging off or anything. You actually have to do your time in the jail cells, and you can't leave. The great thing about it, we're going to add RP to it, role play, so there are going to be evil kind of like filthy guards who will take bribery to kind of, get you out. and we're gonna have jails where people who are jailed are gonna have to do various things to get out of jail, which is basically doing a bit of farming or a bit of tree cutting or a bit of whatever in the jail to actually, get the chance to leave again. So yeah, the jailing system is going to be really
Cheap
fun.
labor.
It'll be great. Yeah, cheap labor. It'll be a great thing to RP. It'll be nice for guards. It'll be nice for bandits as well to kind of to have punishment rather than just death straight away. And don't worry about it being OP or kind of under the control of people who are corrupt. It's going to be moderated well. Only mature and respected players of high ranking in the actual game will be allowed to do it, and GMs as well. But it's all going to be in fun. It's all going to be in role play, and it'll be great fun for you guys. It's going to have rules. They can't just randomly jail you while you're in the wilds. It's really just going to happen when, for example, like a bunch of guards catch you in the city or something like that. So don't worry about it. But it'll be great fun. It'll be a nice little mechanic to role play in. I'm going to talk about quests as well before I hand it over to Vac again.
Alright, sure.
And the quest system, we're gonna have the return of the NPCs finally after all you guys screaming for them for the past week. But yeah, they had an issue with NPC traders, and you could dupe and steal from NPC traders, and you still can do that. So we're not gonna have NPC traders back until that's fixed. But we will have the shop plugin, which is basically the same thing. It's actually better. Some people think it's better. But we'll have NPCs as questers and NPCs as people who populate the world of Aegis. And they'll be going around all over the place, just, chilling, talking to people, and just generally, being like an extra kind of thing to interact with in the world. And they'll also be giving out quests. The quests are going to be they'll be quite deep. We're not just going to have quests where you collect 20 amount of this or kill 20 amount of this. You're going to actually have to do things. They're going to be quest lines. They're going to be storyline quests, errands. They're going to be quests to help out newbies, kind of introduce them into the world of Aegis. Quests for veterans, kind of some tough quests that kind of give you like an achievement compared to other players. Tell them I did this quest, etc. But yeah, it'll be a great mechanic to add to the server. It'll give a lot of stuff for people to do, get them really busy. It'll let us start integrating a proper storyline for new players, which they can follow, like a proper quest line. NPC guards don't work yet properly, but we've implemented them on the roads and in cities. They don't work yet, but they will do. They'll generally just kill people of the opposite faction, for example, the undead, and mobs. That reminds me that undead will actually, you know what?
I'll talk about that.
Vac talk about that, yeah, concerning the undead and stuff. So yeah, you go talk about the Wandering Soul mechanics.
You want to do that?
For now, I guess.
Alright,
cool. You do that.
Excuse me, I get a drink of lemonade. 1 second. It's good, man. Alright, so yeah. So I know we already implemented the Wandering Soul changes. It's basically a big overhaul to the system. We basically made them ghosts. They don't exist for you normal members. You won't see them, for one. They're invisible to you. You can't talk to them in any way. They can't talk in the RP or OOC channels. They can only talk in a dedicated channel called the Wandering Soul Chat, which you can actually see on my screen here. I mean, I can talk in because I'm a GM, but, others can't. You guys can't. You can't even view it, in fact. But, that's number one. Number two, they can't pick anything up. So if they can't, like, ninja loot you while they're in invisible mode and just be, like, all glitchy and hacky and stuff. They can't loot or they can't drop items either.
They can give you quite a fright.
Yeah, they can scare you. They can open doors. They can open doors. Yes, they can do that. Let's see here. They can't break blocks, obviously. They can't place blocks, obviously. What else, really? They basically don't exist for you. Like, you don't need to worry about them at all. They can't interact with you other than opening doors. Maybe you can use, like binary language to talk to you through that, I guess. But, yeah, we basically just overhauled it. Because before we were having some issues where they were able to interact a little too much, and they were kind of ruining the experience for some
yeah, especially
players.
With their skins, yeah.
Yeah, because we have, like, Spider-Man, we have, like, Superman, we got, like, Betty Crocker, and all this fun stuff. Yeah, we basically have made them no longer a bother to you, so we also...
Alright, let's talk about books.
Yeah, books!
Yeah, we've already had that, it's not coming in the new update, but we'll just like to talk to people about it. Basically, everyone can write books now. It's really awesome. I'm actually really excited with this, because anyone can write a book, put it in a bookshelf, give it to other people, copy it, sell it, all sorts. You know, we've already got over 800 books, I think, even